excellent day for an exorcism.
I see dead people.
Suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
It's alive!
Fear on Film.
Hey, I'm Sean,
And I'm Joe,
and welcome to the podcast.
where we talk about fear, jump scares,
Gory kills, the brutal, the gruesome,
and the not so gruesome.
all in the disturbed and morbid love for horror.
Welcome back, folks, to the final episode of the season of Fear on Film, our monthly dive into horror. Sean, can you believe it? We completed a season.
I cannot believe it. Joe and I were just talking about the fact that it went by so quickly, but my goodness, we had so much fun.
It's been quite a ride, and yeah, just a blast. I mean, it seems like just yesterday that we were designing the logo for the episode and going back and forth with ideas for the name of the pod and all this stuff, and just wild.
Tell me about it. I mean, wow, I'm just thinking back on all of the movies that we've covered, the 70s Freaktacular that we did, the good, the bad. I mean, it was an incredible year for horror in 2025. 2026 is looking just as good, if not better. So yeah, I mean, look, we're going to take a much needed and well-deserved break. But, you know, we'll get back into it in season 2 down the line and talk more horror.
Oh, it's going to be great. And we got some stuff lined up. We'll get to that later. But, I mean, thus far, let's go over a few picks and pans that we've come across so far, just a few minutes into the year.
I'd say, look, the year started out great. We've already discussed this. I really like Primate. 28 years later, The Bone Temple was fantastic. I hit a hard skid with Whistle, and then I hit a really hard skid with Psycho Killer. Psycho Killer makes Whistle look like Citizen Kane. Oh, Joe. I mean, yeah. I think this is easily going to be the worst movie of the year, and strong contender for worst movie of the decade.
Wow. I mean, that says so. I thought it was good. I had so much high hopes for it. I have not seen it yet. I will have to watch it eventually because we, at the midway through the year in season 2, we are going to do our top 5. And who knows? It might end up on both of our lists.
It's for sure going to be, and you know me. I'm a sensitive man. I hate leaning into the negative, but this is almost it's kind of fascinating, this movie, because there are so many talented people associated with it. You've got Georgina Campbell in the lead, who I'm a massive fan of her work. You've got Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote, Seven and the latest adaptation of The Wolf. Oh, sorry, no, not the latest adaptation. The 2010 adaptation of The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, 8mm. I mean, this guy, Seven alone, has put him on a pedestal of, a renowned screenwriter.
Right.
And you've got Roy Lee is one of the executive producers. Anyway, there just were so many people associated with this film, and it was a really great kinetic trailer that everyone was really, really hyped on this. Like, oh, okay, Psycho Killer, the name's not great. Maybe that should have been the first red flag,
Yeah, right.
This is definitely a little, they could have done better. Anyway, long story short, it's a fascinating exploration into putting the cart before the horse, because they so badly want to make this a franchise that they front load everything. Like they don't even give you a chance to make the decision for yourself. Like, like with Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. These had the first movies that did so well that the audience demanded a continuation. And of course, the studios were like, yes, we see a cash cow. This is fantastic. But it started with the audience wanting it.
Mhm.
This movie is like, we're not even going to give you the chance. We're just going to shove this damn thing down your throat. Joe, I could spend the next hour talking about how bad this movie is. It doesn't really deserve that attention. I know you'll see it because you're probably curious as to how bad it is. And it's not like, we're not, it's not that every frame of it is an abomination. It's just that it's so pandering toward, hey, Psycho Killer is going to be the next Michael Myers, right? That
Mhm.
it's infuriating because they don't give you the chance to make that call for yourself. Like I'll compare it to In a Violent Nature that came out 2 years ago. Now that was a indie feature. Whether you liked it or not, it showed ingenuity and
Mhm.
and it landed with audiences and it became a moment during that summer where people were like, "Oh, you got to see this movie for all these kills." It didn't say, "Hey, look, we're going to launch a franchise." It just said, "This is what it is, and if you like it, great, but this is it. This is all you're getting." And people liked it so much so that they're like, "Okay, we'll explore a second installment now," which they're doing. That's the way it should work. I don't like it when a studio or a director or a screenwriter are like, "All right, this is gonna be your new Michael Myers. This is gonna be your new, Freddy Krueger. So, we don't really have to do the origin story. We don't have to make this movie good because we're already telling you that Psycho Killer is gonna be a franchise, and we fucking printed up." It's like when the losing team at the Super Bowl, all those T-shirts end up in Kenya or somewhere, that's they're like, "We already printed the merch, so we're not giving you a choice because the T-shirts have been made." And all I have to say to that is, "Fuck you." Honestly, fuck you. Make a good movie, and we'll tell you whether or not we want a continuation of the story. But it has to start with a good movie. So yeah, it just really, I walked out of that theater and I honestly could not believe what I had just witnessed. It was the first time in my life where it felt like, someone, by the way, had a fantastic, dig at this movie, saying it's the first movie that they've seen that seemed like it was written by ChatGPT. But it was my first experience walking out of a movie feeling like I was bounced around between studio call notes. I mean, studio notes, that there was no ingenuity, uh, there was no originality,
Mhm.
and there were so many stupid choices made. When we talk about, like, the director taking the audience for granted, just saying like, we don't need to explain that. Don't worry about it. They're too stupid." This is a movie from almost frame 1 to the credits that is nothing but the audience is too stupid to care, or they're too lazy to invest in it, so we don't need to do the hard yards to explain it. And it's an entire movie of that. And I'm baffled that they actually released this damn thing.
Yeah, now I'm dreading because I do have to watch it in order, to be able to talk about it truthfully. But now I am dreading watching it. I mean, I on a positive note, I finally got to watch 28 years later Bone Temple.
How'd you like it?
Oh my God. I really loved we discussed it, we covered it, and I really loved the first one. If that one was, I don't know what did I give it, a 9 or something. This one's a 12. It was even better. And Nia DaCosta directed the shit out of this movie. She gave it heart, she gave it tension, she gave it style and signature. It was fantastic. The scene where the doctor does his dance thing to what song was that? Metallica song or something?
Oh,
Uh,
wait, is it Metallica or Judas Priest? I can't remember now.
I totally forgot, but man, that whole sequence was mesmerizing, and the entire film. Unfortunately, there may not be a third one because this one seriously underperformed at the box office,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably, and it doesn't speak to the quality of of the first one and Bone Temple, because I just think that with the first one that came out last year, people were expecting what they saw in the first two films. And these last two were definitely not that. And I think that's what threw people off. And so by the time the second, this Bone Temple comes out, I think the audiences were like, yeah, you fooled me with the first one. I didn't like it. I'm not going to watch this one. And that's unfortunate because this is it's a great film. It blew me away.
I'm cautiously optimistic that the third one will be released because now the studio is heavily invested in it. So look, I'm not saying that studios can't make horrifically poor decisions, but when you have, do you sour on a relationship with Danny Boyle and honestly, more importantly, Alex Garland? Like, do you turn your back on that by not releasing it? And Danny Boyle is supposed to direct the third installment, right?
Right.
You've already got Cillian Murphy attached. I don't think there's a chance in hell that this movie doesn't get shot and released. I really don't, Joe. I think we can count on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, the second installment. I'm baffled that it didn't draw audiences in, and it did so poorly. I don't know. I mean, I agree with your assessment, but I'm still scratching my head. I mean, it came out maybe that's it, that it came out in a time where people are typically not going to the theaters in droves. Maybe this would have been better if they waited a little bit and released it toward late spring, early summer. Maybe capitalize on some of that like summer schedule heat.
Mhm.
But I think we can count on the third one. I'm going to be optimistic about it.
Well, I'm hoping because I love the way it ended. Should I give away a spoiler, or should I wait?
I think I already did by saying Cillian Murphy's going to be in the
Yeah, I mean it's great because when I saw it, Bone Temple is self-contained for the most part, and you can go, okay, we don't need the sequel, but that ending was just enough for you to go, if you like the film, of course. I can't wait to see the third, and yeah, Cillian Murphy and his kid show up, and they attempt to rescue our characters from both. It looks great. I think it's going to be fantastic. And I'm hoping, and again, Cillian Murphy is red hot. I mean, Oppenheimer, he's got the new Peaky Blinders film coming up.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I mean, Garland, Boyle, Murphy, those are powerhouse names, and they have a lot of pull, and I think they can pull it off. I think they can get it made. So fingers crossed on that. Another film I got to see that actually was pretty good. It's an indie film called The Black Goat from director David Hines. And if you're into like the Wicker Man, Blair Witch kind of stuff, I think you'll dig this. It's
All right.
good old. It's like this folk horror set in the backwoods in England, and it's fucking weird, pretty tight, and creepy. So I really enjoyed that. I think it came out about a month ago, and it is available on VOD. So if you get a chance, check it out. That one's really good. And I got to see Luc Besson's Dracula.
Oh, you did see it.
Yes. I said, I'm done with Luc Besson. Unfortunately, where do I start? I mean, he definitely takes from Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, down to the design of the old Dracula with the bouffant hairdo and all that shit.
Yeah.
He steals from that. And then have you seen it, by the way?
No, I'm not going to see it. Yeah, I'm going to skip this one.
Yeah, definitely skip it. They kind of go straight forward, and then they have a couple of scenes that are like, where the fuck is this guy going with some weird dancing and singing or whatever? I don't know if they were singing, but you know what? It was dog shit. It was really bad. I don't mean to put the boots on anybody, but it was dog shit. It was bad. Just a waste of time. I mean, I don't know which one was worse for me, that one or We Bury the Dead. Which was another downer. With Bury the Dead, I think in that case, it was a film that didn't know what it wanted to be. It tried to be this and it tried to be that, but it was that instead while pretending to be a zombie film. So Those are my two pans, Dracula and We Bury the Dead. They were really kind of down.
You nailed it with We Bury the Dead is not it's actually a really well shot movie, and the pacing is good, the script is okay, but it's not a horror movie.
No, it's not at all. I mean, it's a movie, a relationship closure film, and it's and that's fine if that's what they wanted to do from the get go. Market it as such. I mean, the friggin' trailer gave me goosebumps. It was exciting. It looked amazing, and the two action sequences that were in the trailer is all you get in the film.
Yeah.
And so that was it was a waste of time. In that one, I came out. I think I mentioned it on an earlier episode we did, where I did a double bill of We Bury the Dead and Primate, and in that order, thank goodness, because I came out on a high note with Primate, because We Bury the Dead is one of those films that just piss you off because it could have been so much better. It could have been a better film.
I just want to mention one more that I got a chance to see. This is more of like a psychological drama. It's really not horror, but it is, at the end of it, when the credits roll, you're like, oh my God, this is a horror story. It's a movie called Lurker, directed by Alex Russell. A really small film. Basically, the premise is that this retail employee, he happens to have a moment with an up and coming like rock star, like music pop star at the clothing store, and they just connect for a brief moment with a shared love of music. And then this guy, the pop star, is like, you should come to my show tonight. Again, this guy isn't like selling out arenas. He's basically like, he's on the strip in LA but he's playing the club. He's on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, you find out that he's like a little obsessed with the pop star to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of manipulated the interaction. And it's really like, it's very sly and very subtle. Like, you really have to pay attention with this film. And then from that moment to what escalates of this kid, like infiltrating this pop star's world as this pop star is on the rise, and how like the things that he does to kind of ingrain himself within his like little posse, it was really good. And it's really, really creepy, like really, really creepy, but it's so unbelievably well shot. It's a small film, maybe like an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes tops. And it was so good. So good. So I'm putting this director, Alex Russell, I'm definitely putting this director on my radar, because what he did within like, an hour and a half was better than these films that we're talking about, Joe. Like,
Wow.
that had way more money, way more studio power behind them. And yeah, so just putting that on everyone's radar. This movie called Lurker, it came out in 2025. I finally got a chance to see it.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to check that out. And, to your point, that's what I love about indie filmmakers, is that they're very limited in resources and money, but they pull together their skills, their talent, their artistry, and they produce they do more in 15 minutes than most big studios films can do in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Case in point, I covered a short film called Up on the Housetop about Santa's killer reindeers. And oh man, have you seen this, by the way?
No, you were telling me about it.
Oh, you have to check this one out. It's amazing. 15 minutes. The production quality, it looks like a major film. It's glossy, it's classic look. I mean, it's amazing. And in 15 minutes, they did so much more than say Whistle did in an hour and a half, and which is very impressive. So yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff, and there's a lot more coming up this year that I can't wait to get to. So Sean, on this special Friday the 13th episode, what do you say we get into our creature presentation?
Let's do it. Before we continue, beware. There will be spoilers in the second half of the discussion. We'll let you know just when. So if you haven't seen the film, you might want to pause, watch the movie, and then come on back. Or, look, just continue at your own risk from here on out.
All right. So, Sean, before we get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about the film, the director, and who's in it?
You got it. Okay, so look, this is Maggie Gyllenhaal joint. She is the writer. She is the director. It stars Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale and Annette Bening. You've got Jake Gyllenhaal showing up. You've got Peter Sarsgaard showing up as well. Look, there's the cast of this film is really pretty stellar. I think you'll agree with me, Joe, especially Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale. Jessie Buckley in particular. I mean, she's coming off Hamnet. And yeah, I mean, this is just, I hesitate to say that it is part of the dark universe that Universal had in store. I think we can all agree that that is disco. But this is the new direction that Universal is going with their Universal Monsters franchise. So we had Lee Winnell taking on the Invisible Man to great acclaim, and that I think is the most solid entry of the bunch. We had Lee Winnell coming back to do the Wolfman, and now we've got Maggie Gyllenhaal's take on The Bride of Frankenstein. Am I missing any? Joe, I'm not, right?
No, I think you nailed it. It's the resurgence of the classic monsters, and we're gonna get into, because we also have the Mummy coming up pretty soon, and it's really great to see these reimagining of these classic characters, and this is definitely a unique and very original reimagining for The Bride of Frankenstein.
I agree. I think, I kind of love what Universal is doing for the most part, where they're tapping into some really great talent. I mean, let's just take a look at who we have so far. Lee Winnell, really love his work. He works pretty much specifically in a genre, and I think he does it really well.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Lee Cronin
Yes.
is coming off of Evil Dead Rise and now taking on the Mummy. Let's just put a pin in that for a second. I'm just going to stick a pin in that for 1 sec. Then you have Maggie Gyllenhaal, who honestly doesn't direct horror, and I think it's pretty evident with this film. I'll explain more on that in a minute. But she brings a different kinetic energy to it. I think she brings a different. She looks at the universal monsterness of it all in a different light than I think the genre directors do, which I think is interesting, but I don't necessarily know that it eventually culminates in a good film. I don't know. What's your take?
All righty. Well, I'll give you my take after we roll that clip. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Can anybody help me? Please. I didn't want this. I didn't want any of this. Please. Help. Help. What happened?
You had an accident.
An accident, huh?
We dug you up. Then we brought you back to life.
Get on stage, and I call her by her first name.
What do you want with a dead girl?
I'm the same. Born from the dead. I am a monster.
Yeah, so am I.
So this film takes place in the 1930s Chicago. A lonely Frankenstein's monster, played by Christian Bale, enlists the help of scientist Dr. Euphonius and Annette Bening to create a companion. So they reanimate the body of a murdered young woman named Ida, played by Jessie Buckley, who becomes the bride. All right, so before we get into it, let's go into some quick production backstory here. So the film, in January of 2024, it was announced that Warner Brothers was producing the film, and Annette Bening had joined the ensemble cast, which included Jessie Buckley. In August of 2024, the Wall Street Journal reported that Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abney, they stepped in to foot the bill after Netflix left the project. Thank God for that. And principal photography was scheduled to begin March 4th, 2024 in New York City. Cinematographer Lawrence Sher shot the film entirely with IMAX certified digital cameras, marking his first collaboration with Gyllenhaal. The Bride had its world premiere at the Empire Leicester Square in London on February 26, 2026, and it was first released in France and South Korea March 4th, and in the US on March 6th in IMAX. Alrighty, so let's get our takes. You want to go first, or shall I?
No, you know what, Joe? You go first. You go first.
All right, okay. Well, okay, here are my takes. First of all, I thought this was going to be a musical. Remember, there was hints at it that it was going to be a musical, and I was surprised that it wasn't a musical. And I don't know if that's going to hurt the box office because it was perceived that it might be a musical. But to me, this was a pure joy. It was beautifully shot. And the cast, most notably Jessie Buckley, just amazing. I got to see this on the largest IMAX screen in Southern California in RDX.
Great.
Oh my God. And I took a buddy of mine, Jeff, who is a contributor with reviews for Adventures in 80s Cinema. And this was an experience because he is a true cinephile, but he has not been to the movie theater since 2019. He was just, I get put off with the whole, cell phone people and talking. And so he just kind of said, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. So this was his first time back, and watching and experiencing this with him was amazing. He came out of there just floating. He was like, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal's second film as a director. Dude, she directs this film like a true veteran auteur. This was her film, a true vision of artistic cinema. And it almost seemed watching this film, that Warner Brothers said, Maggie, make your film. And no interference whatsoever. I loved it. I really did.
All right. I find this film much like The Wolfman, which I went to bat for in Macabre Daily. I mean, I wrote an article saying, hey, look, as horror fans, we whinge that we don't get anything, that all we get are like retreads, and we don't get new takes. And then we do get a new take, and then we kind of shit all over it. I feel the same way about The Bride. I feel like there were so many interesting elements to it, and it's visually beautiful and arresting, and you can watch the hell out of this. And it has so many interesting elements to it. I just, as a whole, it didn't work for me.
Ooh.
Because I just felt like it was all right. I mean, look, I felt like there was a better Bride of Frankenstein film came out a couple of years ago, and that film was called Barbie. Essentially, you've got someone constructed out of parts, which is Barbie, kind of fighting against the patriarchy and finding her agency and her voice, and kind of taking on the system.
Mhm.
And I just felt like it was done better. And I mean, Ken is kind of like a Frankenstein creation in Barbie. He thinks he's the main character, but he's not, and he's kind of obtuse, maybe, sweethearted, but a little obtuse. And I don't know. I just felt like this movie came in short because it's already been done and it was done better. And then all I could think of is, oh boy, what could have Greta Gerwig done with the Bride of Frankenstein film, And that's no dig to Maggie Gyllenhaal. I really think she puts her heart and soul on the screen, but I also think that's the problem, And this is where I want to compare it to the genre filmmakers that have made. And look, you and I have not seen Frame One other than the teaser trailer for The Mummy, but we have seen Evil Dead Rise. This is where, when you get a genre filmmaker like Lee Winnell and like Lee Cronin involved in monster property, you can pretty much rest assured that the horror is going to be there. Now, Joe, you'll agree with me that this isn't a horror movie.
No, it definitely isn't. It has the elements of, but it's not a horror movie whatsoever. I mean, it has, you got your couple of kills that are pretty horrific, but yeah, it's definitely not. I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah, look, boiled down to its essence, Bride of Frankenstein, the original, James Whale, I mean, that's very much, it has humor. James Whale really, really developed a keen sense of humor in that film. There's, especially in comparison to Frankenstein, there's a lot of humor in it, but there's a lot of pathos. At the end of it, Frankenstein says, "We belong dead," and blows up the castle. I mean, there is that nihilistic bent to it, which I love, which is missing in this film, which broke my heart. It really did. I mean, Maggie Gyllenhaal wanted to make a statement about feminism and women finding a voice, and I think those are very important issues to talk about. But when you're making a Bride of Frankenstein movie, you have to wrap it, whether you want to or not. You have to wrap it within the the gown, if you will, of the Bride of Frankenstein. This does it in the periphery, but it never landed for me. It never felt like it was a Frankenstein or a Bride of Frankenstein film. I just felt like those were the characters she had to include because that's what the property was. But she wanted to make a statement film set in the 1930s with all these lush visuals and great score, great soundtrack, and a lot of movement and a lot of razzmatazz. But ultimately, I was like left wondering, okay, but where no pun intended, or maybe pun completely intended, where's the corpse of the Bride of Frankenstein? Like, where are the bones upon which we build this house? And I couldn't find them.
What I loved about this, I mean, again, I have to agree with you again. This is not a horror film. It's more of a crime romance kind of film.
Yeah, it's a road picture is what it is, which I don't mind at all if it's not the Bride of Frankenstein.
Right. I mean, it definitely gave me vibes of 1967's Bonnie and Clyde by Arthur Penn. Down to the way they're on the lam and they're experiencing each other, they're in love, and how they even die, quote unquote, at the end. But I mean, I love the way the film serves also as an allegory, I guess, for the modern woman who refuses to lose herself. And, it emphasizes on, that personal identity that should be sacrificed for the sake of relationships, which I really dug. I really did. I think that was pretty heavy. But yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, I don't know if that's going to bring my score down, that it wasn't really a horror film. I'm just glad it wasn't a musical. I don't know. I don't know if I'm glad if it wasn't a musical. Maybe that would have helped. I don't know.
I don't think it would have helped. I think it would have further distanced it from the source material. Also, again, this is nitpicking. This is a gorgeous film and it's a fun film. And I honestly think you should go in and see it. But if you're going to see it thinking that it's some sort of like real interpretation of the Bride of Frankenstein, you got to leave that at the door because it's not. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll have a much, much better time, and I'm not, I feel like I'm dangerously tiptoeing into fanboy territory. Luke Skywalker's lightsaber can never be orange or purple. I mean, I don't want people thinking that I'm going down that road. I'm just looking at it from the source material and the James Whale film.
Mm-hmm.
There have been other interpretations of the Bride of Frankenstein. There's one from the 80s that stars Sting and Jennifer Beals as the Bride of Frankenstein. It's got Clancy Brown as the Frankenstein monster. And let me tell you something. It's not a good movie at all, but you got to watch this film. You have to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very, as far as brides go, I mean, I'm very partial to the Bride of Reanimator, which you and I covered on another podcast.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was amazing iteration and design for the character. Now let's talk about the design of the bride, which I thought was incredible. And to me, it ranks up there as one of the best visual iterations of the character.
Oh, Joe, I'm so glad you brought it up. Everything about this film is gorgeous. The sets are gorgeous. The costumes are gorgeous. The practical effects are gorgeous. The makeup.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I noted, that since Karloff and Manchester donned the makeup and costumes of those iconic characters, Frankenstein and the Bride, there has not been a visual. Nothing's come close, and they've all kind of like just fallen flat. And this, I'm thinking, doesn't look nothing like the originals, but they're beautiful, and my next favorite look to these two characters.
I'll agree with you. It's just inspired. It really is. It really, really is. I think visually, it just like pops off the screen that their look and the actors really, they bring those characters to life through the makeup, which sometimes is hard. You know, there, Joe, you and I could list. I mean, just bam, bam, bam. We could list off performances where actors become encased in the prosthetics and they let the prosthetics do the work for them, and then it lessens their performance. This is the complete opposite. This is an accessory that just accentuates the performance. So yeah, no, I'm with you. So many elements. I mean, almost honestly across the board, the visual elements, the stylistic choices, the sound design, the set design, the costume design, 10 for 10, no notes. I do want to ask you a question though. I'm so curious about this. Did you think that the prologue of Jessie Buckley as Mary Shelley in Purgatory, and then how, oh, by the way, Joe, we didn't do it. Beep, beep, boop, beep, beep, boop. Spoilers. We never do it, dude. We always forget. We just start spoiling the film. Anyway, did you feel like that prologue with the introduction of Mary Shelley and then her essentially possessing, for lack of a better word, the and reanimating the corpse of Ida, and then Ida basically being this amalgam of Mary Shelley and herself, and sometimes she has a Chicago accent, and sometimes she has a very distinct British accent of Mary Shelley, and then Ida almost possessing the female population of Chicago, so they find their agency and start, pushing back on the men. What did you think about that narrative choice, that narrative element to the screenplay?
I loved it. It was totally unexpected. I did not see that coming. Let's get to Jessie Buckley on this. Yeah, because she goes back and forth like a woman possessed. She's herself. She's Mary Shelley. I mean, she breaks out with this transatlantic, accent, and then she goes to the Brit. I was mesmerized, and the choice of Mary Shelley coming out from Purgatory, telling the story. I thought it was a really bold choice. I loved it.
I hated it. I hated it. I felt like, I don't know. It just felt like it was something that Maggie Gyllenhaal really wanted to do more than anything else. And I felt like it was a bit shoehorned. Like when you're writing the screenplay and you're like, okay, where is the machine that drives the beast? What does that element look like? And I wish that they had come up with something better or gotten rid of it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like if you bring in the Mary Shelley aspect of it, then you have to bring in the gothic elements of it, which this film has to some degree with some of the set design, but really no gothic elements whatsoever narratively and especially not with the vibe of the film, which is kind of, pretty jaunty and jazzy. We really do tap into the 1920s, 1930s aesthetic of it, which is fantastic, but it butts up against, what this film is ultimately about. When you have a Frankenstein movie, and a Bride of Frankenstein movie is, okay, so where's the gothic elements to it? Because that is, that's it. I mean, that's the bread and butter right there. So anyway.
I think that was a deliberate choice by Gyllenhaal, to abandon or almost abandon the whole gothic aesthetic and feel to it, and go with the whole 30s and 40s vibe, gangster vibe. Instead, I think she used was more of a replacement of.
I'll challenge you. How fascinating and interesting would it have been had she kept the gangster elements and the gothic elements and create something that's, I mean, look, it could possibly have come off very Batman, which we need to talk about the Joker folie à deux aspect of this movie. We have to get into that, Joe. I mean, this movie is essentially it's a Harley Quinn movie.
Right. Well, I think what, it's interesting you mentioned that has she blended the two. That would have been quite interesting. But you know what? I think we can agree on this, that this being her second film is, and what she accomplished within it, I think it's still pretty impressive. And I think she's finding her legs.
Oh yeah.
And I think that her future projects, I think she's just going to get better and better as a director. Hopefully, if she continues down this path as a director.
I agree. I think she is phenomenal. She knows what her she knows what her direction is. She sticks to the choices that she makes.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic. Hey, this one didn't fully work for me. I was kind of looking for something else, but I was highly entertained. But that's no dig on Maggie Gyllenhaal. She made the movie that she wanted to make. I have to respect that. When you commit, and look, there are stories about reshoots, there are stories about poor test screenings. We don't need to get into any of that. The movie on the screen is the movie that she wanted to make, and I don't think she compromised in any way. And I think that's the problem that I have with it. And good on her. Fuck me. She should make the movie that she wants to make. I'm going to say that there's no way the Tyrannosaurus could have escaped Isla Nublar. I shouldn't be able to have a voice in this other than I went to the movie, I saw it. There's so many things that I can appreciate. At the end of the day, okay, it's a little less than for me, but it is a beautiful film. So that she wins.
Yeah, definitely. And again, the themes that she touches upon in the story. I mean, for me, it worked. I mean, monsters trying to, who are the monsters? Who are really the monsters? And her finding her identity and not being the property of, when he tells her, what should we call you? The bride, the bride of Frankenstein. She's just the motherfucking bride. I mean, I was mesmerized. I enjoyed it. But I get what you're saying. I definitely do. That's why I think this is, as soon as I came out of the theater, I turned to my buddy and I said, yeah, this is definitely one of those films that's quite polarizing. You can have your people who just adore this film and those majority who hate it.
It's going to be divisive for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. So now what did you think about the ending implying a sequel? So at the end, the culmination in the climax of the film, both at the lab, the bride and Frankenstein are shot by the cops and they're lying on the gurney or whatever, and they're dead and so forth. And the cops, or the main cop played by Penelope Cruz, I got to get back to her, by the way, cops are there. Our characters are dead. Penelope Cruz is like, okay, cops, they'll get out, leave them by themselves. And she tells the doctor, she goes, take as much time as you need. Wink, wink. And she walks out. And then we get the shot of the tower, the lab, and you see the lightning. And then you see the shot of the hands of the bride and Frankenstein clutching each other like they came back to life, implying a sequel. What did you think of that?
I thought, look, I'm fine with that. It goes against that nihilistic original ending of We Belong Dead of the original. So I didn't love it, but because I had fallen in love with the characters of the bride and Frankie during the film, of course I want them to be together. And this isn't a horror movie, so they should be together. This isn't, I have to come to grips with the fact that this isn't a Bride of Frankenstein movie. It's a Frankie and Bride movie, and I love the fact that they're going to be together forever. There's not a chance in Hades' asshole that this is going to get a sequel. It made $7 million this weekend. Maggie Gyllenhaal, I applaud you. I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point. You made the film you wanted to make, and it's visually stunning. Good on you. There's not a chance I am scared that she will not get a chance to direct another movie. This is such a bomb, Joe. This is such an abysmal bomb. 7 million this weekend. I mean,
that's bad.
Fuck animation. Sorry, kids who are listening, but this movie Hoppers just decimated the bride. Decimated it.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I mean, that's not the kids' money. That's daddy, mommy money that just to shut the kids up. So, but but it is what it is. You're right. I mean, I hope she definitely gets another shot at sitting at the, on that chair.
Just to put it in context for you, Joe, Hoppers made 46 million.
Oh,
46 million, which if this were the summer, that would probably have been double, but it made 46 million, 88 million worldwide, where look, guys, I know talking about money's gross, but look, you gotta acknowledge it. The Bride comes out in third place with 7.3. It was projected to make 16, which was a low estimate to begin with because of those reshoots I was talking about, because of the poor audience test screenings, and it makes 13 million worldwide. Now, I don't know what the cost was of the film, but I know that they probably paid Christian Bale alone probably 13 million to make the film.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is definitely on track for. It's going to lose money, unfortunately, and like you said, it's when we talk money, it's not about well, executives are lining their pockets with dough, but I mean, those are numbers that they are indicative of audience reaction and the reception. Like I once stated, it's like the Nielsen ratings.
The projected, the estimated budget, and again, this is a conservative budget because you really have to take into account marketing, which I don't know is reflected completely in this, but they're saying it was $80 to $90 million budget for this film, which feels about right. It definitely feels about right for what's up there on the screen.
Mhm.
And to then have a $13 million opening weekend haul, and this film is going to, I mean, if it makes half of that next weekend, the drop off of this film is going to be so precipitous
Mhm.
that the oxygen mask is going to come down and we're all going to get nosebleeds,
Yeah. I mean, I'm projecting at least 65, 75% drop off. And again, to me, I find that unfortunate. But again, it's a divisive film. It's a very unique, original spin on the subject. Now, let's get into this cast real quick. Which I love for the most part. Jessie Buckley as Ida, the bride, Mary Shelley. She was phenomenal. I love the choices for her design, for how she portrayed the character. The design, by the way, I love the concept of that mark on her face,
Yeah.
which is some sort of chemical reaction and it stains the skin. But it was fucking beautiful. She was fantastic. I mean, she was electrifying. No pun intended.
I feel like Jessie Buckley is just she's on a comet ride right now.
Yeah.
She's turning in incredible performances. She's an incredible actor. I feel like her and Christian Bale are dialed into exactly what movie this is, even though it's a little discordant. It's you can see some heavy editing going on with this film
Mm-hmm.
because of Maggie Gyllenhaal's vision. It's like jazz. I mean, the notes are all over the place. Sometimes the film, I'm not going to say it's hard to follow, but it bounces. I mean, it definitely bounces from place to place to place.
Mm-hmm.
And, at the end of the day, you still have to make a film that narratively is coherent and you can follow along with it, So I definitely feel like, you can see some Frankenstein stitching in there where it's cobbled together. I felt like there may have been some missing scenes. There may have been some judicious cuts there to maybe shorten the film up a little
Mhm.
bit and make it a little bit tighter. I don't think
Mhm.
any of those work. It's still kind of this haphazard, fun mess of a film,
Mhm.
which I think it sounds like a dig, but I think plays into the fun of it. Like the overall vibe of the film is it's a little shaggy and it's a little wonky, but so are
Mhm.
the characters. Peter Skarsgård, Jesus Christ. Look, he's a great actor. I don't know that he's dynamic in the role of Detective Wiles.
Mhm.
Penelope Cruz is horribly miscast. She must be really good friends with Maggie Gyllenhaal. Annette Bening is fun as Dr. Euphorious?
Euphonious.
Euphonious, thank you. She's having the time of her life. I love
Yeah.
that.
Mhm. Well, it's interesting, you mentioned because it's a good cast. It's a great cast. Which by the way, I think that the downward trajectory box office wise of this film, the one who stands to benefit, I think the most will be Jessie Buckley because of her performance.
Oh yeah.
People are going to say, I love this film. Jessie was fantastic. This movie sucked, but Jessie Buckley was fantastic. And so I think that's across the board. So she stands to gain the most from this film. Christian Bale, you know what? Bottom line is the Christian Bale, Skarsgård, Cruz, Benning, they did not stand out. This is an ensemble cast, and to put it into perspective, look at the ensemble cast we had for Sinners. Everybody shined. Everybody was equally phenomenal.
Yeah.
And but here they were just kind of like backdrop. Christian Bale, not really, because he's shown as well. But I think again, Buckley just outshined everybody. Skarsgård was just there. Penelope Cruz, who I only like in one film. I'm not a big fan of Penelope Cruz. I loved her in Abre los Ojos, which was remade into Vanilla Sky, she was also in as well, I believe, right?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, and I thought she sucked in that one. So I'm not a big fan of Cruz, and I had cringe just every time she would pop up on the screen. You're right, horribly miscast. And Annette Bening, an absolute pro. She went in, did her thing, and looks like she was having a great time at it. But again, the cast was just the supporting cast was just there, and I think Maggie was focused more on Jessie Buckley's character, and kind of like forgot about the rest of the characters.
You make great points, dude. You really do. You really, really do. I think Buckley and Bale, I mean, they've already ditched out and rolled onto the grass from this car wreck. All of the other actors, they're in bit parts, so they're not going to take any heat for this at all. It's unfortunate. It's going to this is eventually going to be somewhere, I mean, upwards towards a $60 million loss for the studio. And it's going, probably, I know we're only in March, but it's probably going to be one of the bigger, if not the biggest, flops of the year.
Yeah.
And I think that sucks because Maggie Gyllenhaal is a great director, but let's just be really, mercenary here. It's going to be so hard to crawl out of a $60 million flop to get another gig. Not saying that she can, with a studio, I should say. She could definitely direct indie, no problem at all. And I think that's probably more well suited for her. But another studio gig with a $60 million loss, I just don't ever see them handing the keys over ever again, ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just hope that, as we know, Warner Brothers has been on this streak with horror films. And I just hope this doesn't dampen their direction, and that they start second guessing horror genre films from this point, because they've been crushing it. They really have.
It's a great segue, dude. Can we talk about Lee Cronin's Mummy coming up?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So here's the good and the bad. I think it's going to be horrific. Everything I'm hearing about this movie is that Lee Cronin, being Lee Cronin, just dines out on the horror element of the Mummy, which is kind of ironic and funny, because when you look at the Universal monsters as a whole, the Mummy is kind of the butt of the joke, like, oh, we have to escape from the Mummy, let's just jog,
Right.
So I think Lee Cronin was very aware of this and was like, hold my beer, challenge accepted, and then took his glove off and slapped everyone in the face twice.
Right.
I think he leans so far into the horror that I'm hearing that it's too far, which I don't think there is a thing. So I'm really anxious to see this movie. I hear it is a bummer of a time, and I can't wait. I can't wait to really check it out. I think, but that's the good news. The good news is we're going to get an absolute out and out horror film, much like what Leigh Whannell did with the Wolfman and the Invisible Man.
And I think it's great, actually, that they kept, because I think it's last episode we did, or the episode before, you mentioned that they were going to change the title which I think, from The Mummy to, what was it, The Resurrected or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think they're thinking about doing so because of, the announcement that Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are coming back for The Mummy 4.
Dude, I honestly, between you and I think some studio fucking drone panicked and wink 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 released a statement, not a statement, but called up a friend at Variety and lost their shit. And I think that I think that entire story is horseshit. I don't think there was a poor test screening. I don't think James Wan was concerned in the least little bit. I don't think there was ever going to be a title change. I honestly think that was either a plant to get the attention back on Lee Cronin's Mummy movie, which if that's the case, well played, because it did, or it was just someone like hitting eject because they don't like horror, and the whole thing is bullshit.
Yeah, I have to agree, because I mean, if you look at the time frame, I mean, the Brendan Fraser Mummy is coming out when 2028, I think it is.
Well, that's the bad news to it all, is because I think that's gonna steal Lee Cronin's Mummy's lunch.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, I am stoked for it, and like you said, if they, they're saying, oh, it went too far. That's a selling point for me, and I think would be a selling point to a lot of horror files out there. So yeah. I think it's going to do well. I mean, I saw the trailer and it gave me vibes of, classic mummy horror, but at the same time, it was like The Exorcist as well. And so yeah, I'm stoked for that. That's another one that's at the top of our list, and we will be covering that season 2.
I cannot wait. I just can't wait to see what Lee Cronin does with how he ties the Mummy into it, because it's a contemporary film. So how he ties the Mummy aspect into it, while making it just amazingly horrific. So I'm all aboard for that one.
Yep. Alrighty. So what do you say we get into our ratings of The Bride?
You got it.
All right. So we're going to be rating this on a scale of 1 to 10 lightning bolts. All right.
Okay.
You go first, my friend.
Oh boy. I'm going to give this one 6 lightning bolts. 6.5.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. I like that. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 lightning bolts.
Nah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of bummed that, of course, I mean, I don't want a sequel, but I'm kind of bummed that it wasn't received as well as I think it should have been. But again, hats off and kudos to Maggie Gyllenhaal for telling or making the film that she wanted, and again, hats off to Warner Brothers and DeLuca and everybody over there, in letting her make her film, good or bad. She gave us her vision and her film.
Joe, I can't let go. I gotta keep beating the dead horse. I'm so sorry. I can't let go of it. You just said something so interesting, and I know I said it repeatedly as well, ad nauseum, that she made the film that she wanted to make. But I have to ask you, I'm so curious, bud, who was this movie made for?
Ooh, you know what? I think she made it for herself.
Yeah, which is great. Look, that's great. I wish someone would give me fucking $90 million to make a movie for myself. Boy, oh boy, would I love that. Yeah, I was kind of challenged in the car riding home. I was like, oh man, honestly, at the end of the day, who's this movie for?
Yeah, she definitely did make this for the masses, I think, and that's probably that's reflected in the box office, unfortunately, but yeah, it was a very personal film. She had a lot to say, and she said it. She, wanted to show us a lot, and she did. And her own unique vision.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and so yeah, the movie is, again, it's very, people love it, people hate it. It's just a strange, weird, and very original kind of film. And I think again, people were just expecting something different: a musical, a comedy, a horror film. Maybe too much depth for some, or not enough depth, or too much, who knows? But I won't say it misfired. I just think that it was very specifically aimed, and I think it just kind of missed the mark of the general audience.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's kind of heartbreaking. I think people would enjoy this if it were retitled The Origin Story of Harley Quinn.
I see it. Okay.
Of Harley Quinn's mom. I'm sorry, Harley Quinn's mom,
There you go. Hey, we can have the daughter of the bride with Margot Robbie.
There you go. There you go, dude.
Oh man. Alrighty, so sir, what do you say we wrap this one up?
All right, let's get out of here.
Alrighty, so folks, thank you so much for joining us this season. I mean, it's been a phenomenal ride, and And yeah, we can't wait to get back to you in a couple of months for season 2.
Hell yeah. Cannot wait. But we're going to look, we need to recharge our horror batteries. So this is going to be a nice little break, not too long. And then we'll be coming back. We'll be coming in hot.
Yes. So be prepared. And thanks again so much for listening, and really hope you enjoyed this episode.
Please help to support the podcast by giving us 5 stars and leaving a good review. Look, I've said it and I've said it and I've said it. This stupid robot overlord, if it's not 5 stars, it discounts us. It actually penalizes us. Like 4 stars is great as well. But if you leave 4, then the algorithm is like, they are worse than syphilis. So please, 5 stars and leave a good review. Another way to support us is to subscribe and follow us on Amazon and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Deezer, Audible, Boomplay, or wherever you get your podcast fix.
All right, and you can also catch me on Adventures in 80s Cinema, where we cover all the cool blockbusters and memorable films of the 80s, along with my co-host Daisy. Comes out every other week on Wednesday, so make sure you check that out. And you can also catch us on my old podcast, the Filmjoe Podcast, and that they're both available on all the same platforms.
You can also contact us directly by emailing us at fearonfilmpod@gmail.com. We would love to hear your feedback.
And also, don't forget to check us out on Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, where we drop all of our regular episodes as well. All of this stuff that can be found in our LinkTree below in the show notes. So, with that being said, I'm Joe.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Fear on Film,
where horror lives.